I do not know what is happening here. It is I, your host, Michael Garza. 4-3. Trifecta. Oh, yeah. Guess who's back again. I am fapping. Tell your friends. Guess who's back. Guess who's back. Guess who's back. Na na na. All right, let's see here. So, we're rocking it. We're cocking it. Here we go, dude. OMG. Guess who's back? Guess who's back? Guess who's back? Garza. Michael Garza. Welcome to the show. I am your flamboyant host. Here we go. Now we're going to react to a few things. Actually, I do want to start out the show.
How do you like?
So this is interesting because I know who the streamer is that Asmongold is interviewing. Ice Poseidon, I think, is his name. I've actually watched a couple of his things before in the past. He's an interesting fella. All right, let's watch a little bit of this and let's see what's going on here.
Austin's great. I love it. It's it's like big city, small city vibes. You know, it's I can just I could just walk everywhere. I live in the city, so it's pretty nice.
I'm surprised you guys didn't actually do full streams together. You kind of look like somebody that would have fought other people on his stream.
There's a lot of people like that. I was talking about that the other day, like all the other random recurring characters, etc. Like seeing them occasionally, come up again, like EBZ, Hampton Brandon, Asian Andy, Mexican Andy, Burger fucking Planet. Oh my God. I remember he came up recently too. And yeah, I think that you were pretty much the first guy that really did IRL streaming and made it like a big thing on Twitch. And I feel like it was so long ago. Do people really, do you feel like people still remember that? Or is it just like that much in your past where you're not?
I remember. And Pepperidge Farms remembers too. Yeah, Ice Poseidon's been doing this for a while, man.
Even think about it anymore.
I mean, the OG people on Twitch remember that, but the new people don't know. They have no idea.
Mm-hmm. Mm. It's so crazy because there's like a playbook. Anytime that you see a new group come up, even what are they called now? The Core Boys?
Core Boys, yeah.
I think that they're great at what they do.
Their phase, yeah.
But look at a lot of the stuff that they did. Mm-hmm. They did a lot of the shit that we did as OTK. And a lot of the shit that we did as OTK.
One of my favorite fucking things is watching the younger streamers have the same fucking dramas that we did. Like, I love watching them walk into the same problems, have the same dramas, like girl issues, other bullshit. Oh my God, I love it. Well, it's so funny.
It's like the same cycle every time, though. They all started as gameplay streamers. Mm-hmm. They start getting popular. They start doing IRLs.
Right.
They start kind of becoming nuisance streamers.
Start getting popular or start view botting?
What's the difference?
Yeah, I mean, nowadays.
Yeah. It's crazy.
Nobody did it before.
Everybody's fucking cheating. Everybody fucking cheats. Everybody's view botting. They're on Twitter like botting. They're replying to each other. They're paying people to clip them. Oh my God.
That's
You've
funny,
talked
man.
about
It's
the
true.
clipping thing a lot. I've seen
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think clipping is the worst thing that has ever happened to streaming.
Why?
100%.
It brings up the worst content. So you can be, popular as a clipping streamer and all your clips can go viral. But then when people come to your actual stream, you're not actually a good streamer. You're just a good clipper.
Yeah.
So
I could say that for my show. My show is more of a clip stream more than anything. Nah, just kidding. No, I actually, it's funny. I don't really clip my live streams anymore as much. I usually just make long form 20 to 30 minute videos pre-recorded, and then I just have Opus Clip AI just edit those into short video clips. And then I upload those. And sometimes they go semi-viral. Some of them will get like 10,000 or 20,000 views. But yeah, a lot of the time I'm just, kind of just making some semi-educational content that's for members only. Like when I talk about some of my investment stuff, I'll do like a long-form horizontal show for like 20 or 30 minutes where it's just me talking about some of my theories on investing. It's really nice.
I think that brings up the worst kind of streamers. All the top streamers are just like not good streamers anymore.
It's like McDonald's content, right? Like you have like 30-second entertaining content out of like a 6-hour stream. And no, I think you're right, honestly. And then especially when you're paying people to do it, paying people to like react to it and shit like this, like, oh my God.
Yeah, when you're paying clippers to clip your content, it encourages the clippers to like bot their clips, so you pay them more.
Yep.
Everything's just fake. It's not organic. Back in the day, you used to be able to look at the top 10 streamers, click on any of them, they're all good streamers.
Yeah.
Nowadays, you click the top 10 and you're fucking bored.
They
And
suck,
you knew
dude.
what people wanted. I think one of the weirdest things ever now, when you try to,
If I ever become a top 10 streamer, that'll be the day. We got Annie in the house. Yep, Ice Poseidon, dude. No, I really do. Ice Poseidon's an interesting fella. He's been doing IRL streaming for a long time, man. He's been doing a lot of it. I mean, especially on Twitch. I think Twitch is where he started out, obviously, but I think he still does it on Twitch, last time I checked. I mean, to be honest, I think Twitch is a dying platform, and I would rather be live on, I hate to say it, TikTok. TikTok censors you a lot more, though. TikTok is stupid, actually. I only go live on there just so that way I can get extra followers and eventually maybe do a couple of like gift streams and stuff, just to see what I could get out of it. But yeah, it's pretty wild.
assess the landscape. It's like, oh, wow, like this random video game from 50 years ago is getting a lot of views right now. You can't actually tell what people want the same way. When you were doing the Pokemon Go shit, you knew, like, it was obvious what people fucking wanted.
Well, because everybody was talking about it too. That's the thing, is that like now on the internet, so much of the attention for something is like completely astroturf. Like, I don't know if you ever read the comments on any of these clipping accounts? They're like, oh, nah, W, for real? And it's
For bitch, are you for real? It sounds like botted accounts commenting. I think is what Asmund Gould is alluding to. That it's basically fake upon fake upon fake. It's fake. It's fake cubed. It's fake cubed.
like, this is a fucking bot. Like, you're just botting, you're botting comments, you're botting likes, you're botting your stream, you're paying somebody to promote your botted stream. Holy fuck, man.
So
It's crazy.
Oh yeah.
I don't know if I should talk about this.
Yeah,
So when I was gone for 3 years from streaming,
right.
I obviously was going to work, right?
Mhm.
I ran like 4 of the clipping companies.
So
Like,
you were part of the problem.
But I'm going to be so I know a lot about how it works.
Uh-huh.
I know every single person who's doing it. I know how much they're paying.
Yeah.
I know who they're paying. The very weird thing about it is when you start to look at what actually translates into real viewers,
Yeah.
and you also start to see the palette change, right? Because
Yeah.
now the people that are seeing all this stuff on social media, what they expect from a stream, which is kind of what you were getting at, it's not real. So it's kind of killing the streaming industry, and it's kind of killing what people want.
And that's the thing. I want my entire audience to be as authentic as possible. So that's one of the reasons why I do everything organically. I do my hashtags. I make sure, honestly, the way I market it is just for pure search engine optimization on YouTube. I make it to where my show is discoverable mainly through short videos and mainly through vertical streams. But I want an organic audience. Even if it's a bunch of gooners on their smartphones, right? I want real people to view this show. I don't want any bots. I want real people. I want real. All right? No phony baloney dildos. No fucking laws.
From streams now.
Well, I also think that clip viewers don't even translate to live viewers.
They don't.
At all.
Like TikTok viewers.
They don't translate. It's pointless, I think.
I think the only person who's translated TikTok that I can think of is like Queso and maybe Jinxie, right?
Yeah, you have a few people, like if you just do gaming content, I think it's fine. But whenever you're doing IRL content, like I feel like the nuisance streaming content, because like back in the day, like I felt like that was kind of what people were doing. But like now, I remember seeing a fucking clip, and it's like it's like an ice wall in Antarctica, and I hear your fucking voice. I'm like,
oh, it's Uncle Chris in the house, dude. Guess who's back? Back again, Uncle Chris. Tell your friends. Guess who's back? Guess who's back? Guess who's back? Nah, nah, nah. Uncle Chris in the house. What up, brony? Make sure you guys double tap the screen to like the stream one more time. Double tap your screen to like the stream. Let's go, bro.
Wait, what the fuck is this?
Wait, is that the Kanye thing?
No, I was in super down south near Antarctica.
What the fuck? What was so you went to what, Antarctica?
What? Well, I went near Antarctica in Patagonia.
Why?
For content, you know.
What the fuck?
And then Elon Musk tweeted it out, and that was super cool.
He did? Oh my God. I didn't even know that.
I've always wondered this about you, right? I feel like you have so many of these ideas where it's like, okay, I'm going to go to this random country and I'm going to like eat like some weird fucking food, do some weird fucking thing. How quick's the turnaround? Like, do you see it and then like you're there within like 2 or 3 days? Are you actually planning?
No, yeah, I just go. I mean, I just told myself I want to go to Antarctica, so I just flew. Like the next couple days, I just fly over there.
It's always seemed like that, but I've never known if there was like, okay, is there something going on behind the scenes?
No, I don't plan anything, dude.
Dude, that Ice Poseidon, man, you're speaking my language. Whenever I do my show, you know, I have a general idea of what I'm going to talk about, but I don't really outline it. I just kind of go, hey, you know, I'm going to say what I want to say. I'm going to do what I want to do, and I'm going to have a good time with it, right? So I get it completely. Ice Poseidon, man, I just think I want to do something, I'm going to do it. When a thought comes into my head, something I want to react to, I'm just going to react to it, give my raw opinion. And honestly, that's probably what makes the show pretty authentic, is because I'm literally just like thinking I want to do something, I do it, and then I just kind of roll with it. I don't do any grandiose pre-planning before any of these shows. Really, it's just I come up with a title, you know, kind of a subject to what I want to talk about, and then just kind of roll with it.
Okay.
Just show up.
So we were talking before you got here, like a little bit. And there's this weird thing, and I've never seen anyone else like this.
Oh, hey, thank you so much for the gift. Oh, God. I don't know if I should say your name. The certain... I don't know. I don't necessarily know if I should say your name aloud. But yeah, Ice Poseidon is pretty great. He's a fascinating guy. I need to watch more of his streams. He's very fun to watch. Admittedly.
This besides you, where there's like a bajillion people around you that claim to be the innovator of like so many great ideas. And when you try to parse through it, it's like, well, who among these people have actually set up any of these ideas? How much of it is just Ice coming up with everything?
But I do want to thank you for sending the star for 2 jewels. Appreciate it.
Yum.
Hey, thank you, the Ish Cracker. I can't say your full name. I don't think I should. So I'm not going to say your full name, but I'm just going to say thank you for the gift. Thank you for the star. I mean, honestly, your name popped up on the screen, obviously. So you guys, just to let you know, anytime you send a gift, your name is going to pop up on the center of the screen, and you're going to hear me say, gift yum yum. It's like a pre-recorded voice. And, yeah. So at least you get that notoriety. So even if you send a small gift, your name is going to show up on the screen.
Like who is running the show with you?
I mean, it depends on the context, but for the most part, I just come up with an idea and I just go do it.
Yeah.
People trying to take, how can people try and take the ideas that I came up with when I don't even plan? I just go and do it.
You don't even have time to do it.
You know what I'm saying though, right? How many people have you seen kind of come in and be like, oh yeah, that was RV stream? That was my idea.
Oh yeah, no doubt. I think that definitely. Well, it's because you did a lot of the early stuff, and because you did so many of those like early streams, everybody is going to grade everybody else's stream in the future based off of that original stream. And I think that there was like a degree of like grittiness to it.
Well, I think Asmon's giving people too many. Asmon's giving people too much credit. Most people don't have an attention span past 5 seconds, right? So, in a lot of ways, hold on. Okay. So yeah, most people don't even have an attention span past 5 seconds. So it's like, whatever.
And authenticity.
And they're not going to remember Ice Poseidon. You know what I mean? So somebody's going to copy what Ice Poseidon does, but here's the problem with that. No, the audience is not going to even know who Ice Poseidon is because they don't know the history of some of these streams. Some people think that, I don't know, if somebody's doing a stream where they go to the rainforest and maybe Ice Poseidon went to the rainforest a lot, or I don't know. You know what I mean? They're not going to know because a lot of people don't know what other streamers have done before, right? They don't know the history. In fact, if you ask most people, they probably don't even know who Ice Poseidon is. You know what I mean? Most people who are new to just going on, you know, like the newer generation, I doubt they even know who Ice Poseidon is. So they're not going to know that there was somebody doing the same type of streams before. And that guy, you know what I mean? So, like, if I started doing an RV camping stream and Gen Z starts watching it, they're going to think that my content's original because they're not going to know that Ice Poseidon exists. Do you see what I'm saying? It's like all these Gen Z people who think that communism is a good idea. They just never read history to see that it's a bad idea.
The people had, and like now it's like people script events, they pay police officers to come in there and, you know, pretend like arrest them and shit.
Just as if I did an RV stream, they wouldn't be, you know what I mean? I don't know if Ice Poseidon's ever done an RV stream, to be honest, but if he did, the Gen Z wouldn't know it because they don't look at the history of anything besides what they know now. Most people sadly can only think 15 minutes ahead. And they don't think bigger picture. I find that to be a problem in society. I really do. Nobody has any form of long-term thinking. Like, I'm not saying like years upon years, but like just, what about a month? Maybe a month out, maybe a couple weeks out, maybe even 1 week. 1 week out. I'm just saying whenever you're building something, you have to have kind of a little bit of a long-term outlook. Like when I started building my portfolio of stocks and everything, I had a long-term outlook. I said, okay, I want my portfolio to be super diversified. I want dividends every day, every trading day. I want this, I want this, I want this. I came up with the criteria for my portfolio because I had long-term big picture thinking. Do you see what I'm saying?
It's like,
we got to think, and this is a problem with society. We're so obsessed with instant gratification that we don't realize the benefit of a little bit of long-term thinking. We don't understand the benefit of delayed gratification because we're too busy wanting the quick fix. That's why people go to casinos. They want it quickly, but it turns out they end up wasting a lot of time because the house always has the odds in their favor.
Oh my God,
Lo-
guys! Like,
love
what
it
are
or
you
hate it.
doing?
I was getting arrested for real.
I remember the airplane.
Yeah.
Do you think you're ever going to get unbanned from Twitch?
No, I don't think so.
Just from like a liability perspective, or because they fucking hate you?
No, they fucking hate me.
fucking hate
I think there is some higher ups maybe that don't work there anymore that really.
Twitch is ridiculous. Personally, I think Twitch is already dying. I think Twitch is a dead platform. I really do. I think YouTube, TikTok, and Kick are kicking Twitch's ass as far as streaming platforms go. I believe that, man. They're kicking butt. But Twitch is dead. Twitch is dying. I think Twitch is just dead. Straight up, bro.
Hated me, and the higher ups that work there now were the underdogs of the people that hated me, so they're just going to follow that tradition.
I know one person who hated you, who worked there, who I know is gone, but I don't know why they hated him too.
That's not a surprise.
I remember I followed the old CEO on Twitter,
Yeah,
and within 5 minutes he blocked me.
What the fuck?
Yeah, literally.
I don't know.
Well, I think Twitch is owned by a bunch of woke people. And I think, the old saying goes, when you go woke, you go broke. Because the greatest content creators on Twitch are the ones who are the most provocative. And the problem is, now here's the thing. Hassan Piker rarely gets banned from Twitch because he has left-wing thinking, and Twitch is a left-wing company. Put two and two together. If you share their ideology, they'll be nice to you. If you do not share their ideology, they will be shitty to you. It's as simple that YouTube used to do the same thing. For example, my channel was so tough to get my channel off the ground because there were things that happened where they like did bans. It was a weird process. But yeah, it got off the ground and it started succeeding. But yeah, for a while, YouTube was being a real dick to any creators that had what you would call wrong thinking. And yeah, but now YouTube's a lot better. YouTube actually cares more about their creators than they used to. Look, in order for a platform to succeed, you have to care about your creators, and you have to let your creators flourish as they are. For example, if I were to go on Twitch and say half the things that I say, I don't know if I would get banned per se because I'm pretty milquetoast. But like, I am pretty milquetoast. My opinions are very basic. I don't have like crazy ass opinions. My main opinions are, and I guess these are considered crazy in woke world. Woke people think these are crazy. I think you should have strong borders. Done with the pronoun stuff. Just keep it simple. Don't make things complicated. I think the left has made so many things complicated that they don't need to be complicated. You know what I mean? The left is overly complicated just about everything. And this is one of the reasons why one of the reasons why people don't want to vote Democrat. One of the reasons why Trump won the popular vote along with the Electoral College is because people were done with woke. People were done being told what to do by these prissy Karens that don't know anything about reality, who are totally shut in and disconnected. Right? It just pisses me off, yeah. I don't want to be ruled by Karens because Karens are authoritative. And I don't want to be ruled by a bunch of incompetent Karens. I'm sorry. I'm not sorry. I'm really not.
What the fuck's wrong with him?
Wait, what's his name
Emmett
again?
Shear.
Oh,
that was his
I
name.
remember.
Is that it?
Yeah.
Oh my God. Yeah, I forgot. Like, I don't even know what he did or anything. Like, he never said anything about Twitch. It was like he wasn't even there. And it was always Dan Clancy. What do you think about Dan Clancy?
I mean, I've never met him, but he seems kind
Well, as much as I love Ice Poseidon and Asmongold, I figure we would start the morning with a little Asmongold. Oh, Spencer Pratt. Hold on. I love Spencer Pratt, dude.
Trump just debuted a new nickname.
Pratt.
That's why we call them the Democrats. We have a
The Democrats because they're... It's so simple yet so good. We call them the Dumbocrats because they're dumb. Oh my God, that's not the most original thing I've ever heard, but oh hell, get it.
They're Democrats because they're dumb.
It gets me pretty rock solid right now.
California's proving him right. The favorite
Holy crap,
for Newsom's
man.
job
Holy crap.
can't even handle a local interview.
By the way, this is a profile piece. This is not a gotcha piece, right?
Well, look, I think these questions are fair. It's in order to learn about you as a candidate.
So long as it's about the profile.
I don't know how you define profile, but I'd like to begin the interview.
The way I describe profile is you talk about all the things that I've done, things I want to do, and along with some tough questions. But not only tough questions.
LA's even worse. Free breast implants aren't enough. You need a new set of...
Hey, we got my boy E.T. He's saying, good morning, Garza. Ice Poseidon. Ice Poseidon's an interesting fella. He's an interesting fella. I like him. I like him a lot. He's so sexy.
pearly whites.
How many people who are unhoused that you meet have no teeth at all? They don't have teeth. Why? Because meth rots your teeth. You can't succeed without teeth. So there needs to be comprehensive health care provided to people.
That's fine, but here's the thing. You can succeed without teeth, by the way. It's like, but yes, do these people need comprehensive health care? Absolutely. 100%. Oh, God. I think she wants to keep them on the drugs, allegedly.
Free cosmetic dentistry for homeless meth heads? And you can't give the money directly to...
The goal should be to get these people off the meth. The goal is to get these people off the drugs. Get them out. Get the drugs out of their system. Try to help them. Don't keep making them... Oh, God. I can't stand the left, dude. The left is too far gone. The left is gone. The left walked out the building, bro. Double tap your screen to like the stream. If you guys are tired of the left like I am, double tap your screen to like the stream.
To the dentist. No. Karen's funneling the money through a nonprofit, obviously. It's called Homeless, Not Toothless. Does Spencer Pratt get a new set of teeth because he's homeless? The mayor let his house burn down. But he's not going to take it anymore.
Every interview I do, unlike these politicians, it's opposition. It's arguing. When these, Mayor Bass or Councilman Rahman talk to the media, they can just lie, and then the media people go, "Oh, thank you, Mayor Bass." I have to have my information so fact-based and be bulletproof to be.
Well, yeah, and they bully Spencer Pratt. They give by the way, the media in LA give softball questions to Karen Bass all day long, but they treat Spencer Pratt like crap. Because you know what? Spencer Pratt wants something that these people don't want. It's called change. Real change, effective change. Karen Bass wants the status quo. And you know what the status quo has been in LA? Be incompetent, don't get anything done, don't make your city better. Honestly, I want Spencer Pratt to win, dude. I want him to be the mayor of LA because I don't even live in LA, but I think it would be great to make LA great again, dude. Make Los Angeles great again, bro.
Eat this machine that it's.
But yeah, if you guys can, though, don't forget to double tap your screen to like the stream. One more time, double tap your screen to like the stream. The more likes we get, the better. But yes, double tap your screen. Tap it with your you gotta get a grip. Just don't tap it with your tip.
I debate. All I do is debate people all day long.
Pratt stock's rising. His story's sticking. A fed-up citizen who wants to fix problems created by politicians. We call that the Pratt factor. He wiped the floor with them at the debates, and now, surprise, surprise, no more debates. But they'll fight with donor money on the airwaves. They decided to go negative and accuse Pratt of liking the police.
Pratt thinks LA needs thousands more police officers rather than more social workers.
Exactly. Social workers are clearly enabling these people to stay on drugs. I don't think social workers are the answer. I think more police are. Because clearly you got people shooting up in front of schools, You got these people doing terrible things. We need more police. Refund the police, please. And by the way, social workers, we need them. We don't need that many. Because clearly social workers are probably enabling this to happen too. Holy shit. I mean, we're living in clown world, folks. We're living in mother effing clown world, bro. No, I think I love Spencer Pratt. I think what he's doing is fantabulous. It's hot. Take me out to the ball game. Take me out to the crowd. Hold on. Standing on the edge of forever, at the start of whatever, shouting love at the world. Back then, we were like cavemen. When we mapped the moon and the stars, then we forgave them. You've got to get a grip. Don't tap it with your tip. Don't tap it with your tip. You've got to get a grip. Don't tap it with your tip. Don't tap it with your tip.
LA is on the right track and needs to stay the course. Vote no on Republican Spencer Pratt.
Here's how the Babylon Bee frames it. Dems accuse Spencer Pratt of not wanting to destroy California.
Yeah, pretty much. Pretty much. I mean, that I love how they think that is a slight against him. Honestly, that makes him look better. Spencer Pratt, in my opinion, looks better because of that. The Democrats think that's a smear campaign. Honestly, that just proves Spencer Pratt's point. That's not a smear campaign. That's just showing why you need Spencer Pratt to become the mayor of LA. I think he's going to win. Uh-oh. Tap it with your tip. Tap it with your tip. You've got to get a grip. Don't tap it with your tip. Don't tap it with your tip. Don't tap it with your tip. But yeah, no, I love that Spencer Pratt wants more police in LA. There absolutely needs to be more police because everybody's doing drugs and they're on super meth.
Now that he's gaining traction, they're all scrambling. Ramen, like the noodle, flip-flopped on defunding the police. Listen.
So you no longer believe in defunding the police?
No.
And what caused you to change your mind?
You know, I think we need to be able to ensure that the city can respond to...
Oh my God, really? Jesus Christ. Dude, nobody's voting for this chick. Nobody's voting for this chick. Dude, I think she should just drop out of the race. And if anybody's voting for Karen Bass, I mean, LA, you get what you deserve. You get what you deserve.
calls for service, and we have to make sure that we are able to respond to calls for help around public safety issues. And I think in order to do that at this moment, with our response system, we need to be able to maintain the size of our police force.
All right. An outsider makes a splash, and all of a sudden, Democrats start inching towards the middle. He's running on common sense, but the media doesn't get it.
I am so exhausted of being surrounded by this level of idiocy. It is not. This guy is not practical. His man's plan was to live off his reality fame. When that dwindled, he wanted to be an influencer. When that dwindled, he tried to make his wife a singer. It didn't work, so now he's going to be mayor of LA. He says he's going to end corruption. How? He says he's going to have no more homeless. How? He says he's going to have renters' rights. How? I'm so sick of having politicians come in here with zero experience telling us they're going to fix everything. Have we learned nothing?
Bass has experience. What good did that do? If something...
Yeah, Karen Bass, dude. Oh, my God. Screw her, bro. She's so terrible, dude. Let's do 90.
Something's clearly not working. Why wouldn't you try something new? Pratt didn't plan this. He got pushed into it. He's a symptom of the Democrats screwing up. An honest taxpayer thought his mayor could put out a fire, you know, with a $15 billion budget. Don't laugh off Pratt. He lives in the real world.
You vote for Spencer Pratt on your ballot today or tonight, it'll say Spencer Pratt community advocate, because that's how I identify now. I'm no longer a reality star. And also, it's funny, I keep being...
It's crazy that they're trying to downplay Pratt. You could downplay Pratt all you want, but I think the citizens of Los Angeles are pissed. I think that they're legitimately pissed. They're like, dude, this guy is saying everything we want to hear. Not just that, he's going to do everything we want him to do. We're tired of the drug problem. I mean, dude, people have fatigue. I think people have real fatigue in LA right now. And Spencer Pratt is a symptom, by the way, of the left's ineptitude to be able, their inadequate ability to solve problems. All the left cares about is looking good but not doing good. That is one of the reasons why I don't support leftist politics, because I think leftist politics are insane. Yeah, you heard me. I think the left is bloody insane. I think the left is incompetent. I think this is one of the reasons why I don't vote Democrat, because they are incompetent. They are stupid. And I'm not sorry to say that. I'm not sorry for saying that. I think if you vote for a Democrat these days, I think you're a flat earther.
Call a reality star. I'm the only candidate living in reality.
Billy Bush, the host of Hot Mics. All right, we need some local flavor, Billy. So we're going to go to you, our LA guy. What's the word on the street with this Pratt guy down there?
Look, he's for real. You mentioned he won that debate flat out on NBC4. It was last week. I think it shocked a lot of people. I honestly, his command of the facts was fantastic. His control of the room was fantastic.
He got it, dude. I'm voting for. I wish I could vote for this guy because I don't live in LA, so I can't vote for him. I wish I could.
He showed a real ability to connect. He is relatable. He is likable. He is telling the truth. His only commitment is to tell the truth, is for transparency. You talk about the NGOs. You talk about everyone knows that Los Angeles is literally pouring money into drains. How we and $1 billion.
And he's saying that Pratt crushed that debate. Yes, he did. Yes, he absolutely did. Absolutely.
In debt every year is unbelievable. He's just saying, I'm going to walk in and I am going to be transparent.
Pratt is walking in, putting his nuts on the table and saying, watch this. Watch this, bro.
Show you how the city works. We're going to audit the city of Los Angeles.
Allegedly, allegedly, allegedly. That's what he allegedly did. No, just kidding. Yeah, I'm really just being exaggerated. But no, Pratt's the man, dude. I'm voting. I wish I could vote for Pratt because I don't live in LA, so I clearly can't. But I don't know.
Isn't it time? I think every local government should. Well, let's see an audit. I want to see the books. I want to know where everything's going. How do you blow it in one of the most beautiful cities in the entire world? It's a dump in Los Angeles waters. It's a dump. You drive around Los Angeles, you can't believe it.
Well, one of the reasons.
It really is. It's disgusting. One of the reasons, the homeless factor and the drug factor.
Yeah. They're giving the homeless free teeth. Okay, how many other things would you give someone on meth out on the street besides?
How about try to get them off the? Yeah, you know what I mean. Try to get them off the drugs. Try to find a way to rehabilitate them. You know what I mean? You want to solve the problem, try to find a way to get them rehabilitated. Holy shit. The Democrats are highly ineffective.
Free teeth. Maybe get them off meth first before they rot.
Yeah, get them off the drugs first. Exactly. Exactly. Holy crap.
Whole new set.
I mean, I'm going to listen. I mean, when you hear free teeth, you laugh because you're like, that can't be real. Then you're like, oh, it's Los Angeles. It's real.
I mean, it's where they had free breast implants for illegal aliens. And now free teeth for homeless.
Yeah, wait. Yeah, look, but Spencer Pratt is.
I hope Jesse Waters was kidding, by the way. But then again, it's Los Angeles. It's Los Angeles. You could make a joke, and somehow it'll be true that Los Angeles is doing something stupid like that. It's unfortunate. It really is. Los Angeles is cooked, dude. If Karen Bass gets reelected as the mayor, LA's cooked. LA is cooked if Karen Bass is the mayor. Again.
Been able to do is, he says, look, they want to call him MAGA. They want to call him all these things. No. You know who
he's a common sense individual. He wants to, it's so funny. I love how when somebody has real effective solutions, the only attack the left can do is the only thing that the left can do to smear that person is say he's mega. He's mega because he's got better ideas than we do. The Democrats have zero good ideas. Well, they have some, maybe. But most of the ideas most of the crap that I hear come out of the leftist mouths is garbage. One of the reasons I don't vote Democrat is because their policies are ludicrous. They leave the border open. They do and they're way too pro illegal immigration. Like they're just like, "Hey, come on in. Come on in. We're not even going to vet you. Just come on. We'll leave the door open." No, one of the reasons I don't vote Democrat is because their policies suck. Their policies are absolute trash half the time. They are. And I'm not going to lie. Sometimes the Republicans have really crappy policies too. But for the most part, I side with Republicans on most issues, on most policies. Sometimes I side with Democrats. I'm not fully anti-Dem. Well, I will say I will not vote for it. If you have Democrat next to your name, I know you're not a serious candidate. I won't vote for you because I know you're not serious. I know that you're not going to make any change. You're only there for the notoriety. You're only there to make yourself look like a good person. You're not there to actually affect change.
Represents angry Angelinos, people who have had enough of mismanagement in our government, of the fact that our city burns down before this guy. The woman who was very hysterical on CNN, I've seen her on Instagram before. Normally she's more under control, but he's this, he's that. This is a guy whose house burned down, okay? And he said, I'm going to step up and do something about it. How many people bitch on Instagram and that's, that's their activism? This guy said, I'm going to go in there, I'm going to open the books, and we're going to be...
Pratt said he's going for it, dude, and I respect that. I respect Spencer Pratt for just going for it, man. I think that's great.
Transparent with the people of Los Angeles. He's resonating. He's for real. Believe it.
All right. Well, if he doesn't win, we're going to have to draft Billy Bush. You're going to have to run the city.
The Bushman is going in.
Send in the Bushman. I mean, it's the last resort, but
do
we got
not
to pull
send
the
in
trigger.
the Bushman. If I'll do what I have to do, Waters. You know that.
Okay. He will serve if needed. Thank you, Billy. Good to see you. Happy TDS Tuesday. Plus, coolers. That's next.
Trump Derangement Syndrome Tuesday? Hell yeah, dude. Oh, man, that's funny. Okay, DT. Donald Trump arrives in China.
President Trump in Beijing this morning. When he landed Air Force One, he was met with celebrations after landing in Beijing just in the last hour. He is set to begin his two-day summit with Xi Jinping tomorrow morning. Discussions will include trade, of course. The president wants China to open up. AI chip sales. China wants more semiconductor chips. Farm goods, as the president wants China to buy agriculture. And China's support of Iran and of Russia. This historic summit happening as several CCP companies have already been sanctioned by the U.S. Treasury for aiding Iran's effort in building up weapons and missile systems. Meanwhile, more than a dozen of top American business leaders are traveling with the president. They were on Air Force One with President Trump.
I mean, that's a lot of CEOs traveling with the president, man. That's crazy. I mean, Air Force One is probably one of the safest planes you could be in if you're traveling internationally. But still, dude, still crazy.
Trump, including NVIDIA's Jensen Huang, Apple's Tim Cook, Tesla's Elon Musk, BlackRock's Larry Fink, and many others from the banking and oil industries. Joining me now is Kentucky Congressman James Comer. He's the chairman of the House Oversight Committee. Mr. Chairman, good to see you. Thank you so much for being here. Your reaction to the president's trip?
Well, I think this is a very important trip. Obviously, it's historic, but we have a lot of problems with China. You and I have talked about this a lot. Maria, you know more about all the...
Mercury Mess is asking, do you like Trump? Yes, I do like Trump. I think Trump's the man. I think he's the greatest president we've ever had. I love Trump. Double tap the screen if you guys like Trump. Double tap your screen if you love Trump as much as I do. Let's go.
Abuses and misdeeds that China commits against America every day. They steal our intellectual property. They manipulate their currency. They don't abide by any environmental laws. They're funding our greatest enemy right now, Iran. But having said that, we really need to have a trade agreement, a fair trade agreement with China. We need China to buy more agriculture goods from the United States. We need China to import American energy. And at the same time, I think there are things China can produce cheaper than we can in the United States that would be a good deal for American consumers and help with the affordability issue. So there's so much on the table, and I can't think of a better person to lead the negotiations than President Trump. China has already received the message that the United States is serious with all the tariffs that have been slapped on China. And if I were President Xi, I would worry if this is an unsuccessful summit after 2 days, that China could be faced with even more tariffs from the United States.
Well, I think that's a great point. And it's true. And I've asked President Trump about this many times. How do you go sit knee to knee in front of the leader of the #1 adversary of America? I mean, I know that you're hopeful that the U.S. and China can reach this trade agreement, certainly. But at the same time, we know that China is behind a major hack, cybersecurity hack in the U.S., behind major intellectual property theft in the United States. And who knows if the CCP is behind those people who were arrested, who were trying to bring, chemicals into this country.
Yeah, that's pretty disturbing, to be honest, that people were trying to bring biochemical weapons into the U.S. It makes you wonder, was the CCP behind it? It makes you wonder, man. I don't know if they were, but it makes you wonder.
Labs, which, of course, sicken our citizens. So I wonder how much of that comes up and how much the president is going to push Xi Jinping on some of those other issues. Because you're right. I mean, President Trump knows who China and Xi Jinping are, and yet he talks about doing deals and being a deal maker. I want to move on to get your take on other things. In fact, 7 House Democrats sent you a letter requesting subpoenas for an investigation into suspicious prediction market trades tied to.
Oh, I'm curious about these subpoenas, by the way, because I have been against prediction markets quite a bit. And the reason I'm, you think I would be into prediction markets and stuff, but I'm really not. I think there's a few things that piss me off about prediction markets. And one, they're easy to rig is the big thing. That is probably my biggest quarrel with prediction markets. Hold on. But yeah, no, I really do think the prediction markets are too easy to rig, and it becomes a real issue when you start putting contracts actual events. Yeah, so I think the problem is if you're doing contracts like that on real life events, I think that's a problem, dude. I really do.
To the Iran conflict. What can you tell us about this?
Well, this is a problem. We've all seen those big trades go through hours before.
But no, I really do love what Trump's been doing. Trump's been doing the right thing. Look, you guys can get pissed off at me all you want. But to all the leftists in the chat, I like Trump. I think he's good. I think he's great for the country. I think he's trying to put America on the map. I mean, America's already on the map, but I think he's trying to get America back on track. And granted, I agree with Trump on this. I think America's lost its way. And we need to first off put America first again. We need to destabilize Iran's government because they have been the #1 state sponsor of terror for a long time. Iran started this war a long time ago. Trump is finishing it. That's what you guys don't get. Trump is finishing what Iran started, okay? And I think you know this to be true. I think you guys know this to be very, very true. And, yeah.
Something big happens in Iran. We saw the same thing happen in Venezuela. I think that someone's been identified in the military as being part of the trade with respect to Venezuela. At the end of the day, it's suspicious. So it's something that we're concerned about. I know there are other committees in the House and the Senate that are looking into that as well. So it's something that I would like to know the answer. And if someone's using their knowledge and influence as a government employee or a part of our military or part
Well, I mean, there have been a lot, for example, there's been a lot of senators and even people, I believe, in the House of Representatives that have made a fortune using their foreknowledge of bills that are going to be passed to make a quick buck on the markets, on the stock market, for example. So it's not like this is a new thing. Whether it's prediction markets or whether it's the stock market, there have been people, mainly senators and House of Representatives, who have been making bank off of their foretold knowledge. I'm looking at you, Miss Pelosi, allegedly.
Part of the administration to profit from that in a prediction market, then they should be held accountable. I don't know what the law is, but if we need to make a law and change a law with respect to that, we will certainly do it. But at the end of the day, it's very unethical, and it doesn't need to happen.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know how that's possible, really. I mean, somebody in our military who may very well have access to sensitive information about whether or not we're going to go into Venezuela, go into Iran, makes a bet on it on prediction markets and makes hundreds of thousands of dollars on it. How is that? How does that happen? I mean, so I'd like you to get more information on it. Where are you in that investigation?
Well, we're starting to request information. That's the process. That's how it begins. We'll request information, and if we have trouble getting it, then a subpoena will follow. My subpoenas hold up in court, so if someone gets a letter from me requesting information or a document, they turn it over 99% of the time, because if they don't, we'll subpoena them and win in court and eventually get the document and make it even harder on them as we move forward with the investigation. But these prediction markets are new, Maria, so we're in uncharted territory. No one would have thought about this 2 years ago, someone having knowledge about an upcoming invasion of a country and making an enormous bet on a prediction market.
Well, that's exactly right. We were just talking with Brian Armstrong about these prediction markets, and I know...
Hold on. It's not ethical, LMAO. Well, first off, you shouldn't be... I mean, it's unethical. It is unethical. Vacation time, you know it's unethical.
Paul Atkins has been my guest many times, Securities and Exchange Commission chairman, and he's trying to frame regulatory boundaries around these prediction markets right now. I want to get your take on the other investigations you're working on and what's priority, because I know that the FBI reportedly questioned current and former CIA officials as part of the Justice Department's probe into the former CIA.
Hey, if you guys love Trump as much as I do, double tap your screen to like the stream. If you guys think that Trump's the man, double tap your screen to like the stream. Let's go.
Director John Brennan and his role in the Russiagate hoax as he was pushing the Steele dossier. Agents reportedly interviewing roughly a dozen officials involved in drafting the Obama-era assessment, which ended up being part of an official assessment that the FBI presented to President Trump, focused on how the conclusions were reached, whether Brennan misled Congress during his 2023 testimony. Is this something you're working on, Mr. Chairman? What can you tell us?
Yeah, this is something that we've looked at for many years. Jim Jordan and Judiciary's looked at. Devin Nunes, back when he was the Intel chairman, looked at. And we've passed all of our knowledge that we've gained over to Kash Patel. I do believe we're fixing to see some accountability. There's no question under the...
But yeah, like I said, double tap your screen to like the stream if you guys believe that Trump's the man and that we're on the right track.
Biden administration, the federal government was weaponized. Even at the end of the Trump administration, people within his administration were trying to get him beat. And you go back to Obama, the Obama days, and the election, the 2016 election. There has been a coordinated effort among the deep state actors to try to discredit and disrupt President Trump's administration.
That's right.
I think we're getting close to seeing some accountability here.
Well, that
We
would
better, dude. We better, bro. No, and here's the thing, man. I think that here's my take on prediction markets. I believe it's gambling. It's basically gamblers versus gamblers. There's no odds makers. It's basically just like, hey. So I'll give you an example. Let's say Vacation Time, ET, and I are all betting. We're not really betting, but let's just say ET, Vacation Time, and I decide we're going to go all into a predict. We're going to do a prediction. We're going to do a contract, a prediction contract. Okay, and let's say they believe that Kamala Harris is going to win the presidency, right? Well, Vacation Time and ET are going to put their money on Kamala, whereas I'm going to put my money on Trump to win, right? So what'll happen is there's no odds makers making the odds. It's all based on where people are putting their money. So if you think about it, it's all about a pool of money and it's divvied, right? So with prediction markets, since there's no odds makers, it's technically not gambling, but it is, in my opinion, still gambling because you can't you're trying to predict the future, and it's ridiculous. So in this instance, because there's more people who have bet on Kamala's odds of winning would be, in this instance, 66%, whereas odds for Trump in this prediction event would be 33%, because I was the only one out of all three of us to put down, let's just say we all put down equal amounts of money. Let's say we each put $100 down. So I put $100, they put $100 each as well for Kamala. Kamala's at 200, Trump's at 100, and then there we go. At least I'm going to say allegedly that's how it works because I don't know fully how they work, but I just know there's no odds makers. That's why it's not technically gambling, because there's no odds makers making the odds. They're technically event-based contracts, and event-based contracts are technically not gambling, but they should be. Oh, JD Vance participates in an anti-fraud event? Hell yeah, dude.
Goes to these anti-fraud units. And I would say what the people who are meant to, that they don't exist to enrich fraudsters, but they exist for the American people for whom Congress has said they're entitled. And that's exactly what this fraud task force is about. One of the things that I thought going into it, but that I've learned about fraud, is that it always has two fundamental victims. The first victim is the American taxpayer, who is generously paid into these programs in an effort to give their fellow citizens a leg up. But it also has as its victims the people who are meant to benefit from these programs, who are not able to benefit, or maybe are benefiting less because of what a disaster some of the fraud has wrought in these programs. And let me just give you a few concrete examples of what we're worried about, of what we're targeting, and also what we're going to do to solve some of these problems. So first, we're announcing that the federal government is deferring $1.3 billion in Medicaid reimbursements from the state of California. And the simple reason is because
Damn.
the state of California has not taken fraud very seriously, and because of that, we see a lot of the consequences.
No, they have not.
Just reference it again. Let me highlight the fact that this really is two separate victims. So there are California taxpayers and American taxpayers who are being defrauded because California isn't taking its program seriously. But also you have people who've been prescribed medications that they don't even need. Sometimes they've had drugs put into their bodies that they don't need because fraudsters have actually encouraged false prescriptions and false administration of medications. So think about this. You're just a person trying to go see a doctor. You assume that your doctor is doing the right thing, but these fraudulent healthcare providers are getting rich by giving people medications they don't even need. It's a defrauding of the American taxpayer, but it's a violation of the trust that should exist between every American and the people who prescribe the medications. That's one thing that we're targeting, and this is why we're taking this action, is because we want California to get serious about this fraud. The second thing I want to talk about, and it requires a little bit of background explanation, is that we are going to very aggressively encourage the states to take Medicare fraud more seriously. So I think a lot of you understand, but for those of you watching at home who don't appreciate this, the Medicaid system that exists in the United States is really 50 separate systems. The federal government pays most of the Medicaid money, but then each of the individual states actually administers the Medicaid program. Now, we have red states and blue states that go after fraud aggressively, but we also unfortunately have some states, mostly blue states unfortunately, that do not take Medicaid fraud very seriously. So you have what's called Medicaid
California and Minnesota
fraud control units, or MFCUs. These Medicaid fraud, these anti-fraud units within the Medicaid program, we generously, meaning the federal government generously gives these fraud control units many, many billions of dollars across the United States of America so that they can take Medicaid fraud seriously. But let me just give you an example to highlight how absurd some of these Medicaid fraud programs are, because they're not actually being used at all. This is a tool. This is a tool that we want the states to use, but unfortunately a lot of states aren't using these tools at all. Let me highlight this with just a couple of separate statistics. So, the Hawaii Medicaid program has received billions and billions of dollars from the federal taxpayers, and of course Hawaii taxpayers have paid in a lot of money into this program over the last years as well. Guess how many convictions or indictments has Hawaii had over the last few years in its
zero, probably zero. I don't know. Let's see. You tell me, JD.
Its Medicaid fraud program. The answer is zero. Not a single indictment, not a single conviction, because the administrators of the Hawaii program just don't take it seriously. They don't think that fraud is a big enough problem. They don't care about protecting resources. They don't care about protecting that Medicaid program. So what does that mean?
Yeah, why should they care? Here's the thing. This is why I believe that government is ineffective with your money. Because when the government is getting your money for free, they don't care about it. It's not their money. It's your money. Do you think that the government cares about allocating your money correctly? No, they don't. They don't. So why would they care about fraud? You know? Why?
That means that if you're committing fraud in Medicaid in Hawaii, at least up until now, hopefully now they're going to take it seriously, you have had effectively free reign from the government of Hawaii to commit as much fraud as you want. That is a complete disgrace. In New York, which does a little bit better, but not by much, New York has had 9 indictments over the last year. Wow. 9 indictments. That's a $100 billion Medicaid program just in New York, and you've had 9 indictments. Indiana, which has about a third of the population of the state of New York, has had more than 4 times as many indictments over the same period. So does anybody here seriously think that the good people of Indiana are 12 times more likely to commit fraud than the people of New York? No, of course not. That's absurd. What is happening is that the leadership in New York are just not taking the fraud issue seriously. They're not using these anti-fraud control units to actually investigate and indict the fraud. So what are we going to do to fix that? Today, we are sending across 50 Medicaid programs, we are sending letters that will require them to show that they are effectively and aggressively prosecuting Medicaid fraud in their states. And if they do not, If they do not aggressively prosecute Medicaid fraud, we are going to turn off the money that goes to these anti-fraud units. And I want to say a couple things about this. You may think, obviously, this is a Republican administration. We're all proud Republicans up here. You may think that this is purely a red state or blue state issue. That's actually not true. We see Medicaid fraud issues in Ohio, the state that I used to represent in the United States Senate. We also see Medicaid issues, fraud issues in a state like Maryland, which is obviously a very blue state. But both Ohio and Maryland have worked with us to take this issue seriously. They've worked with the guys behind me. They've worked with our entire team to make sure that they take fraud seriously. Again, this does not have to be a red state or a blue state issue. This is just basic good government. However, states like California, states like Hawaii, states like New York have completely not taken the fraud issue seriously in the Medicaid program. And so for those states that refuse to get serious about fraud, we are going to turn off that anti-fraud money. And if we continue to find problems, we can turn off other resources within their state Medicaid programs as well. Our goal here is not to do that. We don't want to turn off any money. What we want to do is ensure that people are taking fraud seriously. We want to protect Medicaid. We want to protect Medicare, but we can't do that if the states that are administering those programs are allowing those programs to be fleeced by fraudsters. So we encourage, whether it's California or New York or Maryland or Ohio, we encourage people to work with us. We want to help you use technology and other tools to get rid of the fraud, to get to the root of the fraud. We want to help you. But we can only help these state programs if those state programs are willing to help themselves. So these letters are the first step, the first effort to try to force these states to get serious about prosecuting fraud, and that's exactly what we're doing. Let me just talk about one final issue here. We see a lot of fraud in the home health care and in the hospice care system. I think Dr. Oz will probably talk a little bit more about that, but again, you have to appreciate that this fraud issue is fundamentally theft from the taxpayer, but also theft from people who need these programs.
Exactly, and here's the problem. You know, a lot of people do need these programs, and when there's these levels of fraud that are happening in like states like California and in Minnesota, it becomes a real issue for a lot of real people. People get affected by this wholeheartedly. So,
last month, a California psychotherapist, a woman who had spent 40 years treating patients, helping people deal with problems, found out that her Medicare program had been turned off, that she did not have access to the resources that she had been paying into for her entire life. Why? Because a fraudster had stolen her identity and signed her up for healthcare services that she didn't need, and so she had been...
That's fucked up. There needs to be more security to prevent that. I don't know what sort of security implementations you need to place on there, but it needs to happen.
...turned off of the healthcare services that she did need. This happens way too much in the United States of America, and it happens because until recently, we did not have a government or an administration that actually took the fraud program and took anti-fraud prevention seriously. So let me just close with one final observation here. First of all, why are we doing this now? Why weren't we doing this 2 years ago? And the simple answer is because we didn't have a president and we didn't have an administration who took fraud seriously.
Yeah.
So I want to thank the President of the United States, though I know he's busy in China. All of these efforts, all of these things that we're finding are because we have a president who has told us, take the fraud issue seriously, get to the root of it, and turn off the money when we find out that money is going to fraudsters. So that's exactly what we're doing. But I just want to say that for me, and I think for a lot of people who are involved in this effort, this is very personal. Because I'm not just the Vice President of the United States. I come from a family, and I grew up in a family where we sometimes benefited from these programs. The generosity of the American people is one of the most amazing things about our country. I think all of us, of course, just passed tax day. None of us like paying our taxes, but we do it. And why do we do it? Because we know that it goes to give a bite to a low-income family that can't afford food. We know that it goes to pay the military who keep us safe. We know that it goes to some essential services. But that
there are some things, though, where our tax dollars are being abused, essentially. There are some things that our tax dollars go to where it's being abused. Straight up.
That trust in our government, that trust in our institution, it depends on us taking that trust seriously. How long are people going to pay into programs if they know that that money doesn't go to a low-income kid who needs health care, but that money goes into a fraudster getting rich? This doesn't work, and this doesn't make sense unless we take fraud seriously. So I'm proud to be part of an effort in our government. I'm proud to lead the effort in our government to finally take fraud seriously. We want to protect these programs for the kids and the families who need them. We want to ensure that the American taxpayer isn't getting fleeced. And I'd say just a few months into it, gentlemen, we have done a very, very good job. Let's keep it up. So let me turn it over now to Andrew Ferguson, who's the Executive Director of our Anti-Fraud Task Force. Andrew has done an amazing job, but I have to give a special shout out, not just because she's my fellow Ohioan, to Kim, who has probably found more fraud and has saved the American taxpayer more money than any single official within the government over the last 3 months. Kim, you have been an all-star. We're proud to have you on the team. Thank you, guys.
Well, I couldn't have put it better than the Vice President did. The only reason that what happened today happened is because President Donald Trump took this issue seriously that has plagued this country for decades and is committed to an all-of-government approach. And so to him is to who the credit goes. But the Vice President deserves tremendous credit here. It's hard to get the whole machinery of government moving. You need someone with the Vice President's abilities, with his gravitas, and with his determination to drive at these issues. That's the other reason we're here today. And while I'm at it, I want to thank Dr. Oz and Kim Brandt. A lot of the fraud problems are at HHS, and these two have committed countless hours, night and day, their staffs, their resources, to getting at these problems and fixing it, and where the states are unwilling to do their jobs and fix these problems, Dr. Oz and Kim have stepped up to take care of it. He's not up here today, but
Dr.
I want
Oz,
to thank
baby.
March Bell as well. He's the Inspector General of HHS. A lot of the work we're going to have to do to get the states back in line and stopping fraud is going to go through March's office. You'll see his signature on the letter that went to the state Medicaid control units today. There's going to be a lot of work happening in the IG's office, and we're really pleased to partner with him. It's a shame we have to be up here at all, and with all due respect to the press, with this room full of reporters. It should not have taken a brave kid with a cell phone camera to point the American people at this issue. This is the result of decades of corruption, particularly in blue states like Hawaii, like the Vice President was just explaining, California, Minnesota, and New York, that have taken tens of billions of dollars to pay lawyers to go after Medicaid fraud that just simply have not done it at all. That's the whole point of these programs. If we have these cooperative federalism programs, we love federalism, we want to partner with states, we love subsidiarity, but if the states are going to participate in this, they have to protect their own citizens when they get access to these dollars. And not only are these dollars supposed to go to fight Medicaid fraud, I want to shine a light on the real human dimension of the complete negligence and malfeasance of some of these states here. One of the things they are obliged by law to do is stop elder abuse. That is one of the express commands that Medicaid fraud control units are given, is you are supposed to police Medicaid abuse and elder abuse in the Medicare system too, where so many of America's elderly citizens receive care. And so when the states just take this money and turn it into a jobs program for blue state lawyers, they are effectively participating in the elder abuse in those states, because the American people turned over their money to these state programs to protect their parents and their grandparents from elder abuse. And if you aren't doing it, you are effectively participating in that process. The vice president highlighted this problem that we have in Medicaid, which is if a fraudster takes your identity, signs you up for benefits, when you go—
That fraudster needs to go to jail. You know, I don't know what the punishment is for those fraudsters when they're caught, but they need to go straight to jail. It's fucked up, dude.
Go to try to get the actual benefits you need, you can be denied them. This is a problem we have found all over the federal government in benefits programs. I mean, imagine, we have examples of this. A mother on SNAP benefits going to the grocery store and trying to scan her EBT card to get groceries for her children, and some gang somewhere in California took her identity, maxed out her EBT card, and so her children are going to go hungry.
That's fucked up, dude. And there needs to be a good fraud reporting line in these situations to help out those people. It's screwed up. That is screwed up, though.
Because of fraud that no one in the states is policing. And that is why what we are doing today is so important. The states should be our partners with this. We want to partner with the states. But what we aren't going to do as stewards of the American taxpayer dollar is to send those dollars, billions of them, to the states to line the pockets of state attorneys general who don't want to participate in protecting our benefits programs so that the people who really need them, the people that the American people have agreed to part with their hard-earned dollars to help, to defend, to protect, and to get through hard times, actually get the money. And if the states don't want to cooperate, for the first time, HHS, the Fraud Task Force, the Vice President, and the rest of the federal government are going to tell you, cooperate or lose your funds, and we will do the job for you. Because at the end of the day, if the states won't protect American citizens, the President of the United States and the Vice President will. And that is why I am so honored to be able to participate in this process, because this is ultimately about making sure not only that we aren't stolen from as taxpayers, but the American people who are entitled to this. For Medicaid and for Medicare, people who have paid into these programs their entire lives actually get the benefits that they are entitled to. And with that, I'm going to turn it over to Dr. Oz to talk about all of the efforts at HHS.
Thank you, Andrew. Mr. Vice President, thank you for the leadership, the spirited desire to harness a group of stallions. They're back there, by the way, if you want to see the men and women who are leading the task force. They're at the back of the room, but they've done all the work that allowed us to come up here. In February, we had the largest anti-fraud announcement from CMS the day after the State of the Union address, in which the President created this task force and appointed the Vice President to lead it. Today's effort is larger. It's much larger. And there's a reason for that. Half of the fraud, we believe, in the federal government could be coming out of healthcare services.
Which is what, half of the fraud from healthcare services?
That can be stabbed effortlessly by foreign governments, like syndicated criminal entities, and smaller time operators who can take advantage of the system with, as Andrew pointed out, as little as a Medicare beneficiary number, which is basically a credit card.
I mean, in a lot of ways, it's unreal, dude. That is unreal. That is crazy.
Fraud this system. Unfortunately, that results in about $100 billion of estimated theft just from Medicare and Medicaid. That, just to put it in the context of affordability, which is a very important subtext of this discussion, we would be able to double the life expectancy of the Medicare Trust Fund if we could deal with the fraud issues just in Medicare. So anyone who's out there working their tail off, hoping Medicare will be there with them and for them, and we know many young Americans don't think that's going to be the case. It will be the case. If we take the fraud out, it'll be there for you and your children.
I'll admit, I got some doubts on it. I got doubts. That's one of the reasons why I try to get as rich as possible, you know, accumulate assets as much as possible, make sure I got constant income, because I never know what's going to happen. I never know. I'd like to think I have an idea, but I don't know.
Children as well. And stopping this as a means of extending the Medicare Trust Fund is a noble purpose, but as has been pointed out by the Vice President and Mr. Ferguson, it is about the human costs. Because if these fraudsters are willing to take your money, they will definitely steal your life. and take care of health along the way. So let's transition to the 5 major actions. I'm going to go through them in order. I'll share them with Kim, who her nickname is Killer Kim. Mr. Vice President, you'll learn why in a second. She is unstoppable, and you want federal employees like Kim out there like bulldogs going after this fraud. It's right there for us to find. If we have partnership with the states, it'll help a lot. First,
we need a better nickname for her if she's going to work in healthcare.
she's a Buckeye. She's a Buckeye, so I gave her a choice. Is that a typical name in Ohio?
I don't know.
Okay. California Medicaid deferral that the Vice President mentioned is $1.34 billion. Their submissions of Medicare records and the backup estimates are generating major red flags for us. And we have looked carefully at these records. We are allowed to audit, looking back for a quarter. Dan Brillman, Caprice Knapp, who lead the Medicaid program, spearheaded this effort with a great team. We've discovered $630 million in billing from the folks who are egregiously the top 5% of outliers in billing. This is
damn, man. Damn. Holy crap. Dude, Dr. Oz is pumping, dude.
Numbers so big, you can't imagine anyone billing for these numbers of patients and that much for each patient. And so we're asking California to clarify for us how it got there. Second big area of observation is when you bill within a state, you should be comparable to the states around you. But in California, that's not been the case. In California, the growth of spending in personal care services, in-home services, is twice the rate of the average of the rest of the country.
That's wild. I mean, it doesn't surprise me, though, because the cost of living in California is extremely high. So a lot of these doctors, a lot of these nurses have to get paid like double what most people have to get paid anyway. So it kind of makes sense to some degree. But let's see.
Let me say that again. The rest of the country is at one number. California is twice that number in its growth rate. We estimate there's $500 million that could be at risk taken from federal taxpayers. That means people in New Mexico, which is a blue state, are paying extra taxes so that California can get away with something that they can't defend. So there's $500 million there we're going to defer to. They can show us more convincingly why that's the case. And there's another $200 million that we're stopping in questionable expenditures. Much of that is linked to immigration-related costs. You know, folks who are undocumented, and we're not sure why we're paying for this. And as you know from the Working Families Tax Cut legislation, which I'm going to emphasize is a program that saved Medicaid. The President and Congress saved Medicaid with that bill. That became legislation. There's another $200 million at risk there. Added together, $1.34 billion. It's the largest deferral we've ever made. We're making it for a good reason. We'd like the state to at least come to the table and explain to us how these outlier payments have been generated. Second major issue is home health care fraud and hospice fraud. So let's just clear this up. Hospice, end of life, designed 40 years ago, a beautiful program that's designed to take care of you because you have cancer and you're not going to survive more than 6 months. To do that, trade your Medicare benefit for hospice benefit. So you give up Medicare, because why would you want to have coverage for things you choose? You're dying. You want to die with dignity and grace. It's a beautiful program. Unfortunately, in California and other states, fraudsters have stolen it and given you hospice you didn't want, which means you're not getting care. And you can't even find out what happened because you weren't in the mix of this. There have been a lot of people complaining about this over the years, including people that should have been listened to, like the Auditor General of California, who in 2022 raised this issue to the current governor, and for some reason they have not taken action. Unfortunately, we have a reality that, again, we got to face. A third of all hospices, a third of all these programs in the entire country are in Los Angeles. Ask yourself, how is that possible?
A third of them?
It's not. There are not that many people dying in Los Angeles. We're not talking about California, just Los Angeles. So Kim and the team, with Janina Ugo and a bunch of other great folks, went through the list of all the people, and we believe that at least half of the hospices in the entire area around Los Angeles are fraudulent. And today we announced 800 of those hospices have been suspended. That's getting us, close to where we think we should be. 800 hospices that last year charged the federal taxpayer $1.4 billion will no longer be paid.
Damn.
Mr. Vice President, if your core business was shut down by the federal government, would you call?
Yes.
You would call. Crickets. We have less than 20 who have complained. We're not even sure those are legitimate. 800 hospices shut down, and we're not hearing much. It's crickets out there. So we believe we're on the right path here. Next is a nationwide moratorium on all new hospice and home health care. Why is that possible? Because when we squeeze the balloon in California and slow their growth of hospice and now take away 800, the payments to 800 hospices, we know what those fraudsters do. They move to nearby Nevada. Next door, Nevada has a 7-fold increase in hospice already. Arizona, Texas, they're moving across the country. So we've today announcing a moratorium nationally. There will be no new hospices or home health care open in this country. If you have the program now, you can keep it. You can go to ones that already exist. We're not taking away any services, but there will be no new ones, licenses granted until we can figure out a better way of working across government. Let me highlight this, because when Andrew, who's leading, and the vice presidents are chairing this task force, it's very simple. You have CMS, you have OIG, March Bell sitting over there. You have the Department of Justice, you have the FBI, you have Treasury. You put those things together, you make a powerful fist. And that's the fist we're going to punch through bureaucracies and realities that are stopping our ability to protect the American people. I'm going to leave you one last thought, and then I'm going to ask Kim to cover some of the issues around the Mufukos and the Medicaid.
Jason's the man, dude. Yeah, Jason's the man, dude. Thank you, bro.
War room that she's creating. It is a reality that states are all over the place in their desire to partner with the vice president in this task force. There was a letter sent out 2 weeks ago asking every single state to respond within 10 days to whether or not they will be willing to revalidate their providers. What that means is if you're providing home health care services, which are unlicensed people providing services in undocumented areas that are unverifiable right now in many instances, basically you're having your kids carry the groceries upstairs for you. These are services your family used to provide for you. We asked all the states to work with us to validate if these are legitimate services from legitimate providers. Yeah. Every single state responded. So contrary to the narrative around red and blue, every state wants to protect their citizens. Some are just more competent or brave enough to actually make those steps. And for some reasons, as you heard today, California has been lax in this endeavor. We hope this wake-up
California's a little too lax about a lot of crap.
Call will be heard loudly across the beautiful state of California, whose people we're trying to protect, sometimes from their own leaders. Kim?
So when we took office a little over a year ago, we were looking at the fraud and abuse issue and saw that it was all pay and chase. We were going after the money after it was already out the door. And so we thought there surely has to be a better way. So we created...
There has to be a way to prevent that. You know, there's got to be some sort of fraudulent checks and balances to prevent the fraud from occurring to begin with. Maybe more background checks, maybe more audits. I don't know.
Created the Medicare fraud war room, where we looked at claims in real time before they were paid so that we could determine, were they legitimate? Were there the outliers that we've heard examples of today? And how could we stop it? Over the past year, since the Medicare war room started on March 31st of last year, we have stopped over $2 billion from going out the door just by targeting those high-risk providers. Recently, a couple of weeks ago, we've decided to take it a step further, and we're now doing a Medicaid war room. And what's unique about this is it's the first time that we've ever partnered across the board with our law enforcement partners, the HHS OIG, DOJ, the states, the MFUCAs, the Medicare Fraud Control Units, all working together for the first time to look at Medicaid claims in real time.
As they should.
And be able to determine how we can stop those payments from going out the door. To stop the instances of an 89-year-old woman who had over 5,000 skin substitutes, or to stop the types of things that are just really aberrantly ridiculous. So what we've done is we have data analysts, we have forensic auditors, we have law enforcement people, all coming together in a virtual room. It's not an actual room like you think of like on TV. But they're all in a virtual room where they are looking at this in real time and then making determinations about how we can shut those bad guys down and how we can take action. And what has happened is we are now using our administrative authorities, payment suspensions, overpayments, civil monetary penalties, and the HHS OIG exclusion authority to really be able to take action against these people and make it so that we can hopefully bring that money back where it needs to and never let it go out the door. The key is we want to keep it so that it can provide the services for the people who most need it and who most benefit from it and stop the bad actors from getting all the benefit. Thank you.
Thank you, Kim. So, Dr. Oz,
Heck yeah, man. No, that was great, dude. She's a great speaker, man. Hell yeah.
I want to make sure I understand this well. So you're saying that we kicked off 800 fraudulent healthcare providers off of the Medicare system, and not a single one of them called the government and said, hey, you made a mistake.
We've had a handful of calls. We're not sure they're legitimate yet. but it's less than 20 out of 800, and we're auditing them.
Unbelievable. So,
Yeah.
so at least
Good job,
780 are not even trying to claim that
Amazing.
they're not fraudulent. And again, those are businesses
Amazing.
that we're giving hundreds of millions, in some cases billions of dollars to, not to provide services, but to make a fraudster rich. It's just completely insane. Drives home the scale and scope of the problem. Okay, we'll take a few questions. I will say the ground rules are, I will take the easy questions. Any hard questions are for Dr. Oz. Yes.
Monica Alba with NBC News. I want to ask you first on the issue of fraud. As you're saying, if the administration is calling to specifically withhold Medicaid payments, why should the people who rely on those payments suffer the consequences for a state's failure to go after bad actors? And I have another question for you after.
So I want to be clear here. We're talking about withholding the Medicaid fraud enforcement payments that go to the state bureaucrats. We're not talking about withholding people's benefits. We're talking about turning off the resources that the state government should be using to police fraud. And then instead, we're going to use those resources ourselves because we're actually taking the fraud issue very seriously. But I do think it raises a very important issue. There are going to be some, I'm sure.
Good job, Nick Shirley, by the way, dude. I love Big Dick Nick, dude. Nick Shirley's the man. That's all I got to say. The GOAT. The Masot.
Some politicians who say what you're doing here is harming the Medicaid program. We're trying to save the Medicaid program from dysfunctional state bureaucrats. If you allow hundreds of millions, billions, even more money to go out the door, not to healthcare services for low-income families, but to fraudsters, you eventually are going to destroy the Medicaid program. So this is why we say red state, blue state, this does not need to be a political or a partisan issue. We want to work with you to eliminate fraud and make these programs last longer for the people who truly need them.
Thank you. And can I ask you, Mr. Vice President, when approaching the war with Iran, do you agree with the president's position that Americans' financial situations should not be a consideration in that decision-making process?
Well, I don't think the president said that. I think that's a misrepresentation of what the president said. But look, I agree with the president that Iran should not have a nuclear weapon. We're obviously engaged in a very aggressive and very engaged diplomatic process to try to ensure that that doesn't happen. And the president has a lot of options, as he said repeatedly. There are options diplomatically, there are options on the military side, but the fundamental goal here is the president wants to...
E.T.'s getting all conspiratorial in the house. Mullen really knows his stuff. Hell yeah, dude. E.T.'s getting a full conspiracy. Oh, E.T. We love you, E.T. You are for me, E.T.
Make the world safe, but particularly the American people safe from Iran having a nuclear weapon. And one final point I'll say on that is nuclear proliferation is one of those challenges that people don't realize. It's the biggest threat to America's national security, and it's not.
Yeah, you don't want countries like Iran to have a nuclear weapon. You don't even want them to have uranium, to be honest, because if they're enriching uranium, especially to near weapons grade levels, that's a problem. That's a real problem. Don't want that.
Period. Not obvious until it is. Because what happens if Iran gets a nuclear weapon? Then multiple Gulf Arab countries are going to want to get a nuclear weapon. Then multiple countries from there are going to want to get a nuclear weapon. The goal of preventing nuclear proliferation is probably the single most important thing that we can do to keep our people safe for the long term. It's absolutely a worthy goal. But of course, the president and I and the entire team, we care about the American people's financial situations. It's one of the reasons why we passed the Working Families Tax Cut. It's one of the reasons why we're so focused on fraud. We care about how the American people are doing economically. We've also got a number of other challenges. Of course, the president has to confront all these challenges simultaneously. Yeah.
Edward Lawrence from Fox Business. On fraud, the savings that you find among all of these states, what impact could that have on a federal deficit?
Well, I think it'd have a very big impact, but a lot of it does depend on how well the states work with us. We think we're going to be much more effective if we're working with California as opposed to fighting California over every $1 billion of Medicaid fraud that exists in their system. I mean, there could be tens of billions, hundreds of billions of fraudulent payments within the California system if you count what's going to illegal aliens, if you count what's going to people, fraudulent businesses, if you count what's not going to the people who actually need it, but going to fraudsters. We would find that money a lot easier if if California was working with us, which is why we've taken some of these steps. I mean, the letters fundamentally are outreach. We're going to the states and saying, here are the things that we can do to work on this issue together. And of course, if they don't work with us, there are going to be penalties. We don't want to get there. We want to work with these guys. You heard Dr. Oz say this earlier. I've looked at the numbers myself. It's true. If you just deal with the fraud issue, you can prolong the Medicare and Medicaid trust funds well into the future.
Oh, absolutely. Because all this fraud is just ruining it for everybody. All this fraud is ruining it for, and the fact that they had to shut down 800 hospices is telling. Not to shut them down, but shut down their funding is telling, because chances are, not just chances, there was proof that these were fraudulent.
Future, so it does have a significant budgetary impact. Whether that's hundreds of billions of dollars or maybe even more, we're not going to know until we do the work, but we're going to do the work.
Yeah, if I could on China.
Let's do one question from each person. Go ahead. We can do both, you guys. You guys can fight for who goes first.
Sure. Mr. Vice President, Reagan Reese with the Daily Caller. What's your reaction to the alleged home health fraud in Ohio, and why do you think this is happening in a red state? And just a question of clarification. You mentioned that some states aren't cooperating. What does that look like? Are they not responding to your calls? Are they stonewalling you guys? If you could expand on that.
So I'll let Dr. Oz go into the details a little bit, but on the Ohio issue in particular, look, this happens everywhere. We're a big country. Hundreds of billions of dollars goes out the door every single month from the federal government, and inevitably, you're going to have people who try to take advantage of it. What bothers me is not that you have a few fraudsters out there. It's that the government hasn't taken seriously pushing it back. You're always going to have bad people. You're always going to have a few bad apples try to take advantage of the system. What's so unique about this country until recently is that we didn't take that seriously. We didn't try to push back against the fraud, and that's what's changed. When I talk about...
Yeah, and that is a problem, you know. I mean, this is kind of on everybody.
Cooperating with these various states. And again, we've...
Now, but we're not going to finish reacting to this, but we reacted to enough of it to kind of get a good idea of what's happening there. But yeah, basically J.D. Vance and Mehmet Oz are basically trying to get rid of the fraud that exists in the medical fields. When it comes to, when I say, like, they're trying to basically cut funding to those hospices or whatever, because those hospices are not, some of these hospices are not legitimate. Just not legitimate at all.
And so it begins here in Beijing, China rolling out the red carpet for President Trump. We watched it here.
Trump zaddy, dude.
Here 1 hour ago. Big grand welcome kicking off a two-day summit with serious issues and implications on the line. So good morning, good evening from China. I'm Bill Hemmer back here live in Beijing. And Sandra, nice to see you again. We'll find out what we get along the way. How you doing and good morning back
We will indeed. It is 9 o'clock in the morning here on the East Coast. And Bill.
Trump is the GOAT, baby.
Good to see you out there. I'm Sandra Smith in New York. Dana is off today. This is America's Newsroom. So it started, Bill, with all that pomp and circumstance. We watched it together, but they will soon be getting down to brass tacks.
And he says Vance, Mullen, and Oz make a good team. Absolutely they do. Absolutely 100% they do.
So much hanging in the balance at this U.S.-China summit. The world's two biggest economies have a lot to discuss on trade, on technology, and then there is, of course, the issue of Iran.
Yeah, we'll see where the ball moves on that, if at all. China's the largest buyer of Iranian oil, and right now a fragile ceasefire between the U.S. and Iran hangs in the backdrop. According to the president, before he left Washington, that is not, however, the focus of this trip.
I have a great relationship with President Xi.
Well, hold on. I want to see this. So Trump stuns Beijing with a blunt one. Let's strip this straight up. I mean, we've seen this. So
President
they
Trump
saying?
lands in Beijing for his first trip to China in almost 10 years.
I also kind of like Fox Business. The only real news stations I prefer to watch are like Fox Business and CNBC. I think CNBC could be a little woke sometimes, but Jim Cramer seems to be kind of based, so I'll give Jim Cramer the benefit of the doubt there.
Meeting with Chinese President Xi Jinping for a two-day summit, and he's brought along with him a delegation of executives representing $12 trillion in American economic might. Welcome to the Big Money Show. I'm Brian Bremberg, along with my co-hosts Taylor Riggs, Jerry Willis, Jackie DeAngelis, and with us for the hour, he's bad to the bone, but we call him Mr. Sunshine, Rosecliff founder and managing partner Mike Murphy. Good to see you, sir.
Happy to be here.
All right. So what will it be? A massive trade reset, geopolitical deal-making, or another stalemate? Aisha Hasni is in Beijing with the latest. Hey there, Aisha.
Hey there, we'll find out soon enough because the president is going to get straight to work starting tomorrow, Beijing time. The president previewed for us what he's going to be talking with Xi about. And the first thing he says he's going to make a request is for Xi to open up China to some of these business leaders that are coming along with him, part of this big delegation of tech and business CEOs. He wants China to do business with them. He wants trade to be the topic of conversation coming out of this summit. But he also says he will have a long talk with Xi about Iran. He says he does not need China's intervention to get a deal with Iran, but he does note that it is China that stands to benefit the most from an open Strait of Hormuz because it gets a ton of oil from Iran. It is the biggest purchaser of the Iranian crude oil. Listen to this.
I have a great relationship with President Xi, and I think it's going to remain that way. We have a lot of things to discuss. I wouldn't say Iran is one of them, to be honest with you, because we have Iran very much under control. We're either going to make a deal or they're going to be decimated. So one way or the other, we win. We're going to be talking with President Xi about a lot of different things. I would say more than anything else will be trade.
Yeah, a lot of different things. It feels like everything under the sun.
Well, hopefully they talk about like trade and all that sort of stuff because it's a big deal. That's a huge deal, man. Without a doubt. We know it. You know it. We all feel
is on the table. Everything from tariffs to artificial intelligence, chip production, the status of Taiwan, beef and soybean exports. Again, there's a large delegation of tech and business CEOs arriving here as well. According to Elon Musk, though, it was just him and the NVIDIA CEO, Jensen Huang.
So John is saying, I wish you megas left when Biden was president. Well, here's the thing. The reason that we doubled down our efforts was because Biden was president. Biden was one of the worst presidents we ever had. Are you kidding me? If anything, you guys should have never elected Joe Biden as your president. You guys should have picked a different candidate. We might have preferred somebody else. But because you guys decided to get the most incompetent candidate of all time to be president, and also you guys chose Kamala Harris, by the way, for the 2024 presidential election. We definitely came out in numbers. We came out in droves because if the Democrats would stop being so incompetent, there wouldn't be so many MAGA supporters. The reason that the MAGA movement even started was because of the incompetency of the Democrats. We saw that Democrats cannot rule a country properly. So we decided, okay, we're tired of being screwed over by Democrats, and a lot of independents came to our side as well. But we're tired. We were tired of Democrats. We were tired of Democrats ruining everything. Give me 1 second, everybody.
who were riding along with the president aboard Air Force One. The president truth socialing aboard Air Force One a couple of hours ago. He said, "I will be asking President Xi, a leader of extraordinary distinction, to open up China so that these brilliant people can work their magic and help bring the People's Republic to an even higher level."
Yeah.
Now, he won't see.
Well, hopefully he can say, hey, can you please get rid of the authoritarianism in your country, Xi? Can you stop being such a dictator and realize that your country is going to crumble under the guise of communism?
The president anymore tonight, Beijing time. He's at his hotel for the night. We will see him early tomorrow when he heads to the Great Hall, and that is where he is going to be received by the president of China, Xi. Back to you.
All right, Aisha, we will watch all of it. Thank you very much. Okay, Murph, what do you want to see? Big trip, Wong on the plane, Musk on the plane, Trump. The other guys, I guess, had to find their own ride.
Commercial.
That's right, commercial.
Coach. So what I love about this, just from the jump here, is that President Trump is handling his own messaging. So he's
let's keep reacting, man. Let's keep reacting.
Setting the stage for who he's with, who he's bringing, why he's bringing them, and what he plans to speak to President Xi about. He's not going to let the media or anyone else set the stage for what's going to happen. He's telling us. So what do we come away from this with? Clearly, both men have to come out on top. The two most powerful men in the world. Neither one's going to give in necessarily. But I think President Trump's plan to have an open China is a win, yes, for China, but a bigger win for the United States and the rest of the world. If you had a more of a democracy, more capitalism in China, how does that help our economy? So I think there's a lot of upside here, and if he just plays it the way he set it out, I think it's going to be a win.
Okay, open China. I have some skepticism, Taylor, about China's willingness to open. Nice goal.
Yeah.
I don't know that they want to do that, but I think
most people should have a little bit of skepticism on this one, because the main issue is, can we trust them? I say no, but kind of have no other choice. We got to try to negotiate, work with them, blah, blah, blah. So we see what happens. We'll see what happens.
I think they would love to have NVIDIA chips, and not the second-rate ones, the first-rate ones. Do you think that's a big chip on the table in these negotiations?
Yeah.
We should not. No. We should not be giving the best chips to China. Only reserve those for the U.S., not for China. We know that if China has the best hardware, because they're not afraid to commit cyber warfare. China's not afraid to commit cyber warfare through hacking. And we don't want to give them any sort of leg up at all. The goal is not to give China a single leg up on this. Because the moment we do, that's the moment we're screwed.
Chips are part of the chip negotiating table. I do like that. Comment I heard this morning, maybe we give them not the latest and greatest chips, but just like 6 months behind or a year behind. And we talked to Daniel Newman yesterday, and I like that he was...
I say 2 years behind. 2 years behind, I say. That's the way it should be. Give them the chips that are 2 years behind, because we don't want them to catch up to us. 2 years behind technology. Chips. There we go.
Was saying that we originally thought that chips depreciated in 6 months, and we're actually still using chips from 6 years ago. So if you give them chips from 6 months or a year ago, that may not be a bad thing. NVIDIA gets to benefit from it in the meantime, but they don't get the latest and greatest. And guess what? Yes, they'll reverse engineer, but we're always going to be a step ahead, because we have, and I'll check your math on this, by my estimates, $14.7 trillion in market cap going over there, given the hefty weight of our CEOs. With that brain power, I guess I'm not worried about us only having the latest and greatest and China only having maybe a version or two behind, because we will always outmove her. We will always outsmart, because we have the brain power. When China mints a billionaire, that billionaire disappears. Do we remember?
Yeah, that's true. There is, and this is why China will ultimately fail, is because they're a communist society. In communism, there is no incentive to innovate. This is why you don't see a lot of innovation come out of China. In fact, if anything, you see them try to copy what has been invented in the U.S. because you can't be innovative in a communist country. The group identity prevents that. So this is why you see so many counterfeit products come out of China. It's because they don't have the ability themselves to be innovative, because there is no incentive to be innovative in a communist society. Think about it. The reason that we have all these technological advancements that come out of America is because we have no cap on wealth. There is unlimited incentive for people to create even a cure for cancer, for example. Because guess what? The person who cures cancer becomes a billionaire or a trillionaire. Straight up. In China, if you try to cure cancer, all that money is probably going to go to Xi Jinping. You know I'm right. You know that in a communist society, there's no incentive to do anything worth doing. But in a country like America, there's plenty of incentive. We have no cap on wealth. Your wealth is your wealth, which means you have every incentive to be the most innovative person there could ever be. In a place like communist China, you don't have that luxury. She just mentioned the billionaires who disappear. That's a real thing, man.
For that story, and everyone's like, where did he go? Because Xi Jinping doesn't like billionaires. We embrace, for the most...
Exactly. Communists, here's the problem with communists. They live in a bubble of envy. The only thing, this is the one thing that communists do that piss me off. They do a lot of things that piss me off, actually. But here's the one thing I will say about communism that sucks, is most communists have this character trait. They envy. They get jealous very quickly. They envy other people who are more successful than them, and they don't take the time to wonder why was that person successful to begin with. They just assume that everybody who's more successful than them cheated to get to where they're at because they don't have the fortitude to look, they don't have the ability to look 15 minutes ahead of their present situation, right? That's a problem. This is the shared trait that most communists have. One, communists want to control everybody. If you don't act in a predetermined way that they expect, communists will do terrible things to you. 3, communists, like I said, are very authoritarian. So they're more prone to tell you what to do and make your life miserable if you don't do what they say. Yeah. Communists have a lot of negative traits. I can't think of a lot of positive traits that communists have. You know, like I said, they're more prone to jealousy and envy. They assume that everybody's cheating if they are more successful than they are. Here's the thing. I'm an individualist. If somebody's more successful than me, my first thought is, oh, wow, I want to know what they did. I want to understand why they got successful. Whereas a communist is going to look at a successful person and be like, he cheated. He's more successful than me. He cheated. Communists are babies, basically. Communists are fucking mentally children. And it's insane to me.
Most part, we embrace ours, unless I'm in California or a blue state. But we embrace...
Yeah, blue states are basically communist states at this point. They aspire to communism. And you know what's sad? It really disturbs me that young people think that communism's like this new revolutionary idea. It's ignorance. Young people are ignorant to the fact that communism is one of the worst ideas that mankind ever created. Collectivism doesn't work on a large scale. It really doesn't. And it never will. Individualism triumphs over collectivism any day of the week. The history speaks for itself.
And so I'm just so confident that we will always outmove her. I'm going to be looking at what I'm going to call the Beijing basket. That's going to be the traded.
And to be honest, I think China is doing worse than what they're reporting. Think about it. Chinese government is going to make themselves look better to the world than they actually are. To be honest, I think the Chinese government's probably doing a lot worse than what they're revealing. I really do.
Market cap of chips, perhaps, of goods.
I'm going to say allegedly, though. Allegedly, China's doing worse than what they're putting on paper. Because what do communist countries tend to do? They tend to cook the books. They tend to lie. In a communist country, the unfortunate part, in a communist country, there's more incentive to lie than to tell the truth. Look at the history of communism, you guys. It's plain and simple. It is, and if you understand how the human brain works to some degree, you understand that because there's a lack of incentives in communist societies, there's never going to be any true innovation. China would be cooked if it wasn't for them copying all of our intellectual property, because they don't have any swagger or innovative ability because there's no incentives, like I've been repeating over and over and over. Zero incentive. Mucho uno. Or no, uno, not uno. I don't know what zero is. And is it uno? No, uno is one. I actually don't know what zero is. Is it just zero? In Spanish, is zero just zero? I don't know. I think it's cero. Zero. Anyway, it doesn't matter. Either way, what I'm trying to get at is this. In a communist country, this is the problem that I have with collectivism. This is one of the reasons why I don't vote Democrat, is because the socialists and the communists have taken over the party, and they've implemented all these stupid policies that make government have more power over the people. I don't want that. I want less government power over the people. We need to encourage individualism.
That are over there given by those CEOs, if any deals are being cut with those companies. Let's watch that as the Beijing basket and the new goods that will be sold.
Jackie, a lot of pomp and circumstance. Clearly, we saw when we broke in there the cheering for the president. I wonder what you think about that.
Well, we've seen these visits before, and Trump likes to make them big, and Xi Jinping knows that he likes to make them big, so he made it big. And you could see the president walking off Air Force One with a smile on his face, entourage in tow, a couple of big CEOs with him, many more on the way, his power flex, as we called it yesterday. So it was kind of the perfect welcome. But what was interesting to me is those kids that were all standing there, and they were chanting, "Welcome to the president." They had flags. They had a communist China flag, and they had an American flag. And they were waving them. And I'm thinking to myself, those two symbols are so inherently antagonistic. Yep. Communism and capitalism are ideological opposites. So
yeah, completely. Capitalism, she's completely right. Capitalism and communism, polar opposites. Communism is ineffective. Capitalism actually pulls more people out of poverty than communism. Now, don't get me wrong. There still needs to be some basic level of social programs to prevent people from stacking at zero. I agree with that. But I'm saying that you don't want a full-on communist government. If you're 100% communist in government, I mean, dude, one of the reasons why Cuba failed, 100% communist. The reason Venezuela failed, pretty much communist. Look at any full-on communist country who adopts communism full-on, they fail. In China, I firmly believe, is on a path to failure because of their communistic beliefs. That's what I believe.
I appreciate what the president is trying to do. And I think that he will get something out of this visit. He never gets, a total turnover, but small wins are important here in the trade game with China. And I think he will accomplish that in this visit. But when you think about this, it's wild to me because, think about the Middle East and the Iranians using nuclear weapons and terrorism as their control tactic. They're not giving that up without a huge fight. Well, apply that concept to communist China. President Xi's control comes in this form of communism, and he is not going to give that up, open up any free market or whatever. He's going to try to get what he can from the United States, maybe give something, which is why I think he's been holding back on the agriculture side. That might be what he gives, because actually he owed that to us from almost 6 years ago now. And they do small trade-offs like that. But ulterior motives in that welcome, read between the signs, people.
Jerry, you like to put things in historical context, which I always appreciate. I will just add, I was maybe a little surprised to hear how much President Trump downplayed Iran as an issue that he wants to...
Well, and I think Iran's worth downplaying right now, and I'll tell you why, because Iran's cooked. Iran really can't do anything. The U.S. naval blockade is choking off Iran's ability to be economically viable, because the U.S. blockade is not allowing any of these Iranian tankers to come through. And if any of them try to come through, the blockade ends up firing on them. Pretty simple. I mean, right there, it's pretty simple stuff, man.
Hash out with Xi Jinping. What do you think?
Well, I think there are expectations out there that maybe China could help us with Iran, right? Because China relies on Iran for oil. As we know, it's critically important. But I want to go in the Wayback Machine to China in 1997, Asian financial crisis. I think nobody on this panel, possibly with the exception of Mike, was working in the industry at the time. Were you?
Yeah.
Wow, you've aged well.
What about Murphy?
I said Murphy.
He hasn't aged well.
Yeah.
He's 85 years old. He looks pretty good.
Yeah.
Thank you.
You've already slagged him twice when we
Twice.
started the show.
Thank you for keeping count.
At any rate, what I wanted to say here is that the Asian financial crisis, we came in and saved the world's bacon. I know Jackie remembers that. Time magazine running this famous picture of, Robert Rubin, the Treasury Secretary, Larry Summers, his assistants, and Alan Greenspan on the cover. The Committee to Save the World. We organized the rescue of Asia at the time from financial crisis that threatened to swallow the entire globe. Do you think China would do the same thing if it were up to them? I'm not sure. And I'm not sure that they would help us with Iran, which could fix the problem if China climbed on board with us.
I mean,
Look,
maybe.
I
Maybe she's right. I don't know if she's right. She could be.
think when it comes to China, we are relentlessly naive about the possibilities. China is China first, always.
Well, here's the thing. I mean, of course, China's going to be China first. America's going to be America first. Granted, and that's perfect. I still think China's going to fail, and I do firmly believe that communism is a very dark ideology. Like a mentally dark. It's very pessimistic. It's very nihilistic. Because in communism, everybody thinks everything's just finite, right? And to some degree, that's true. But in communism, there's always this paranoia that everything's going to run out. In capitalism, not so much. Capitalism is a mindset, is a system of abundance, whereas communism is a system of scarcity. A scarcity mindset always fails. An abundance mentality always succeeds. It's why America, in 250 years, has become one of the most powerful economies of all time, and one of the most innovative economies at that. So, anyway, hold on. I got to write something down real quick. Hold on. So, VSS, VTWO. What's the other one? SLV, IAU, and Biddy. So yeah, I've been swing trading the Biddy quite a bit, which has been pretty fun.
President Trump is relentlessly naive on that one, or do you think, are you saying more like the broader political landscape?
When I talk to academics, were saying for decades, we've got to help China. China's in trouble. They're having issues. No, they're not having.
No, we shouldn't help China at all. I'm saying that China itself is going to crumble under its love of communism. China's infatuation with communism is what I believe will be the ultimate ending of China. Reason is saying define communism. Communism is where the government has control over the means of production. And honestly, that's too much power for the government to have. Another thing that sucks about communism that people need to realize is that communism is a collectivist concept, right? And collectivism, when implemented on a massive level scale, always fails. Read a freaking history book, you leftist idiots. Anyway, keep going. This is the problem that I have with the left. The left is like, define communism. It's like, dude, communism is a collectivist concept. Communism basically makes it to where the government has control of the means of production, and that's not capitalism. Capitalism is far superior to communism any day of the week. Any day of the week. Because collectivism doesn't work when implemented on massive scales. How many times do I got to educate you freaking leftists? Anyway, let's keep going.
in trouble. They're making their way for sure. And I think we need to be sure what we want out of these negotiations and go for it. I just say, don't be naive. We know where we've been before with China. They are running the world's pharmacy production, especially when it comes to generics. We know how this works. Don't be naive.
Speaking of lots of big names who are going to China, I don't think this is one of them, but you're looking at Oracle.
I am, and you are correct, not one of them. But I'm desperate for your thoughts on this. Wedbush goes from a $225 to a $275 price target on Oracle. Mike Murphy, this is what Wedbush has to say. The market is incorrectly penalizing the stock for their massive CapEx spend. The market is too focused on the near-term cash issues instead of recognizing some of the highly visible contract-based AI demand that is driving the build-out of which Oracle is involved. Agree or disagree?
Agree 100%.
Really?
Yes. Oracle came out with great earnings about 2 quarters ago, and the stock had a huge rally. It put Larry Ellison as the richest man on earth for about a day. And then the private credit crisis kind of hit, and then there was a lot of discussions around whether or not Oracle would be solvent, whether they could pay their debt, and the stock came down into the low one.
Well, here's the thing about Oracle is if all these people continue to push the stock up higher and higher and higher, I mean, it is possible for Larry Ellington, or whatever the hell his name is, to issue more stock to fund whatever the debt is. You know what I mean? And what that does is it dilutes the shareholder, which I'm not a big fan of when a company issues stock to pay down its debts. I think that's kind of a bitch-ass move, especially to the shareholder. I think you should always pay down your debts using the excess profits that you have. That's what I believe. But hey, if you're desperate to pay down debt, I guess you could cut the dividend or slice it in half or something. I don't know.
Hundreds. Where it's trading right now, 188. They have demand for their products. They're going to service their debt. So market cap here is still under 600 billion. So there's a lot of room for Oracle to.
I will admit, Oracle does have a wide product pipeline, especially when it comes to the world of business. They have a lot of business suite tools that a lot of businesses rely on. So Oracle is still a huge player in the overall software and even tech space, and I do believe that Oracle is going to be a big deal in the artificial intelligence race as well. So it will be interesting to see.
Grow here to continue to move higher because they have this contracted revenue out there. So I think once you fully get the concerns around their debt off the table, the stock's going to be a lot higher than 188.
Oh, yeah. Beautiful. It's a beautiful analysis. I like it. I mean, they're right, man.
All right, we got a Fox News alert now. China's relationship with Iran is a major topic of discussion for President Trump's two-day meeting with President Xi.
So what do you guys think about China's relationship with Iran? I mean, pretty much their entire relationship is based on oil. So in a lot of ways, I don't know. I mean, the entire relationship is based on oil. That's pretty much all you could say. So I think China is going to probably try to persuade the naval blockade to maybe go away. They might try to persuade that. Hey, baby, how's it going? But yeah, that's the only thing I could think of. I mean, I don't know how these talks are going to go. Obviously, it's all going to be top secret stuff. So it'll be interesting to see. Yeah, but yeah, I don't know. I just think that, yeah, I mean, the reason that you don't see a lot of innovation come out of China is because, like I said, a lot of communist philosophies. Xi Jinping, anytime somebody becomes a billionaire in China, they tend to disappear for a while. You know, that's the difference between China and America, is because America, there's no cap on wealth. There's zero cap on wealth, and that's perfect, by the way, because you need incentives to start a business, you know, and if there's a cap on wealth, then what's the point? Could you imagine trying to start a business in China and like worrying about becoming a billionaire if your business is successful enough, you know, I don't know, that sort of worry, it stifles innovation. Innovation is stifled under that sort of rule, under that sort of authoritarianism. So I don't know. That's the way I see it. Anyway, so overall, China's relationship with Iran is they give military assistance, it appears. China's got some diplomatic support for Iran, sure. But China is Iran's largest buyer of crude oil. So China kind of needs Iran, and they need that blockade to kind of go away. So they may try to negotiate and figure out, hey, can you loosen the blockade, please? That could be something that happens. We'll see. But I do want to thank you guys for tuning in. Thank you guys for subscribing. Thank you guys for the gifts. Appreciate it. Trying to think if there's anything else I want to say at the moment. I'm drawing a blank. Been streaming for about quite a few hours already, so we'll call it good here in a second. But yeah. But no, I hope you guys had a good time. Trying to think if there's anything else at all. Well, I got nothing. But I will see you guys a little bit later tonight. And I just hope you all have an incredible rest of the day. Bye for now. Also, don't forget to drop a gift. Drop a gift, man. If you can. You don't have to. But super chats and gifts, we always welcome them. So, bye for now.